When the market gets a little challenging, it's important to remember that business is math. And if we stay focused on the input, then we can measure the output and predict the output in a lot of cases. And that's what we're going to cover in this video. This is Danny Gould, Selling Silicon Valley Legendary Agents, and this is a tale as old as time. Agent comes into a market where it's sunshine and rainbows and everything is super easy and escrows are flying left and right, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the market shifts, and we all know that this is bound to happen. This is the cycle of any economy. There's ups, there's downs, it's sideways. And right now we're in a little bit of a lull. Although I will say things are turning back around, and they're turning back around quickly. However, it's a tale as old as time. Agent comes in when the market's pretty good, and then things start to shift a little bit. It gets tough, and the challenge presents. The challenge presented becomes too overwhelming. It becomes too much for the agent, and they decide that real estate is no longer for them. Unfortunately, good conditions create bad habits. Good conditions create bad habits. And so what we want to remember heading into 2023 is that if we can measure our habits on a daily basis, then we can predict the outcome. And so what I want to help you do right now is create a little business plan for yourself, because I know some of us are lacking. Even though we're in the middle of January right now in 2023, some of us might still be lacking a true business plan for our business. And so the question becomes, how much money do you want to make in 2023? Some of us might want to make 100,000. Some of us might want to make 200,000. And some of us might want to make 500,000. So write that number down on a piece of paper. Then you want to figure out how many deals is it going to take me to make that money. Factor in splits. Factor in varying costs. Do not factor in overhead. We're talking net commission post split, but pre-tax and pre-expenses. So what is the earnings before splits, or earnings after splits, but before overhead expenses? Okay, great. Now, at this point, probably have a number, all right? The next task is breaking that number down into bite-sized chunks. You see, you might have a number on a piece of paper that scares you. It might be a number like 15. It might be a number like 30. It might be a number like 50. It might be a number like 100 homes. My gosh, like 100 homes, that's a lot of fucking homes, dude. But how can we break that up into more bite-sized chunks? So, let's break it down into an even more micro level. How many sales do I need to average on a monthly basis? Okay. Let's just say 24 sales. So I need to do 2 sales a month. Awesome. After a lot of tracking and measuring here internally in our company, we know that it takes an agent roughly 6 to 8 appointments to get 1 sale. 6 to 8 appointments to get 1 sale. So for you, it might be more, it might be less. You might be an awesome converter. You might not be the best converter, but a very safe average is like 7 appointments for a sale. So if you need to do 24 deals or 2 deals a month, that's 14 appointments that you must go on a monthly basis. Now, this is not like a showing. This is like a new client that you're meeting with. Now, you might think, wow, that's exceptionally high. And the truth is like, yeah, if you're a really good converter, if you go on 14 appointments, you might have 10 deals in contract. But we want to forecast based on like worst case scenario, and then if like things start to take off, then we can always taper back. Now the question becomes, for 14 appointments, what prospecting activities, what are we going to do to get to those 14 appointments? This is where a lot of us run into issues, because we know we should be prospecting every day. We know we should be knocking on doors. We know we should be doing open houses. We know we should be posting on social media. We know we should be interacting with our past clients in sphere of influence. We know we should be doing yada, 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 XYZ. We know we should be doing all of these things, but yet what we don't have in front of us is a bona fide like, hey, if you do this, you will get that. This is not a W-2 scenario where like, you know that if you put in 40 hours this week, you're going to get paid $2,000. Yet, I would argue that if I said, if we came to the conclusion that you need to do 2 open houses this week and you need to knock on 100 doors and make 30 follow-up calls, and we came to the agreement that if you did all of those things, I would cut you a check for $2,000, you'd probably do it, right? Of course. Because as humans, we are programmed to want that quick hit. And so what happens is, and this is a principle that you can carry forward for the rest of your life. The principle is this: humans are designed to do a thing, do an activity, get a reward. Do something, achieve result. Work 40 hours, make a paycheck. The problem is that when we figure out, hey, this is how much I have to do, this is the activities that I have to do, these are the activities that I have to do this week to get to my goals, we do that, but we don't get a result in that week or in that month, and then all of a sudden we fall off track because we get stuck in our own thoughts of like, oh, this isn't working. We start to think negatively because unfortunately the paycheck is the lag metric here. There's a lot of lead metrics that add up to that. So figure out what prospecting activities do you have to do to get there. And I don't know what prospecting you do on a daily basis. So you have to figure out like, what prospecting am I doing and how much of this do I need to do to get an appointment? What we know is this: for every 10 visitors that walk through an open house, you get 1 appointment. Awesome. So how many visitors are you going to get in your open houses this month? In December, it was like 3 visitors per open house. So you had to do like basically like 2 or 3 open houses to get an appointment. But now in January, we're seeing open house activity bump up. So maybe you do an open house and you get 1 or 2 appointments. That's great. We know that for every 1,000 knocks, you get an appointment on a door. We know that for every 100 conversations on the phone, you're going to average anywhere from 3 to 4 appointments. So you can take these metrics and start to do some reverse engineering and figuring out, okay, like if I need this many appointments, these are the activities that map to that result. Once you have that roadmap, that is your business plan for the year. Knowing that if you follow that business plan, the results will be there for you at the end of the year. The hard part as human beings is that we don't like to do things for an extended period of time without getting some sort of reward. So whatever you need to do, and something that something that I personally like to do is like, I like to have a checklist of all the things that I have to do for the week. And I know that if I accomplish the checklist, right, like all the activities and everything, like what my income goal is for that year, I take 1/50th of that and I like basically like say, okay, I made that much money this week. Because like in my head, it's easier for me to say like, okay, like I made $10,000 this week. I made $20,000 this week. And like, okay, I can put that in my pocket kind of thing. Not literally, but figuratively. It's like I'm paying myself this income because I know it's going to be there at the end of the year. Understanding this at a high level is fairly simple. But mastering this concept and really living in principle of sticking to habits and not being so driven by outcome is exceptionally difficult to do. If you can master this, not only will you be in the top echelon of all real estate agents in the country, but you will also be a very, very successful entrepreneur. Because most entrepreneurs, most people that want to be in business for themselves cannot master this. And this is the limiting reactant. If you can master this, everything else falls into place. This is Danny Gould, selling Silicon Valley. Stay legendary, everybody.